I love getting into a room where there are people way wiser than me, people who are, 3 to 5 steps down the road for me because there's so much that you can learn. And I also think that there's something to be said about understanding that there is value to be had when you are in a community of people. I think you get into, a comparison game, which is the polar opposite of what community is all about. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Power in the Pause podcast. How are you all doing today? As a reminder, please do not forget to hit subscribe so that you do not miss a single episode, because I have one that comes out every single week. And you would do me an amazing honor and favor if you would please leave that 5-star rating so that more people find this podcast. So thank you all for tuning in today. I'm really excited to be joined here by what I just realized and found out is my birthday Leo soul sister, Sabrina Victoria. Hello, Sabrina. How are you?
Hello, I'm doing so good. How are you?
I am so good. And I'm super excited to talk about something that I think is so underrated in the world of podcasts, which is all about, you guys, how it is that you can see and find the power in community. And what Sabrina is here to talk to you guys about today is really how you can build a strong, successful business community, because ultimately what my belief always is that we are stronger and more powerful together. So let me share a little bit more about Sabrina with you all. So Sabrina Victoria is a seasoned entrepreneur and a TEDx speaker with a background in door-to-door sales. She brings over 2 decades of experience of building and co-building multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses to Her Nation, a dynamic media platform showcasing business owners through engaging podcasts, virtual magazine features, and empowering events. Her charismatic leadership style centers on community building, education, and strategic networking as the core of success for women in business. She is the host of Her Talk Show and leads several networking, business workshops, and masterminds per week to help female business owners thrive. Sabrina, thank you so much again for being here. I've loved every conversation that we have had, and I would love to kick off this particular episode with you sharing with our audience today how it is that you found your power in the pause.
I think one of the important things that I have recognized is the amount of pauses. I feel like so many times we feel like life is go, 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 go. But when we really sit and we ponder the pivots, the refocusing, the stopping to look both ways, there's been a lot of those. A few of my most powerful ones have really helped me align with my true vision and my true purpose. I feel as if so many times we're in this go movement, quick, 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 fast, 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 especially as entrepreneurs, especially as business owners. Business is built with speed, with momentum. And so many times I have found that when I really stopped to listen to my intuition, when I really stopped to listen to my inner thoughts, when I really stopped to reconsider my vision and where I ultimately want to go, the pivots that have happened, the pauses that have happened have led me to the journey that I'm on now. And if I would not have taken the time to slow down for a moment, I would be in a completely different arena. And the passion and the drive that I have for the community that I'm building right now would not be. And how sad, like when I think about that, how sad to think about that.
And I appreciate your honesty about that, because I couldn't agree more. And I think that there is this, we live in this hustle culture. And I hate that word, because to me, it's almost like it's like a badge that you wear. Like, I'm in the hustle all the time. And to me, that is where you miss out on stuff. Like that is when you are going 80 down the highway and you are completely oblivious to the beautiful scenery that is around you. And kind of dovetailing that into our conversation today, like I feel like if you are part of that hustle mentality, what you are also doing is you're choosing to do things on your own when there is so much power in the slowdown and also being able to connect with and to be a part of something bigger than yourself. So I know that you have a very strong opinion about the importance of community. And so I would love for you to share a little bit more about why having that type of a strong community is essential when you are building a business.
To really get the grasp of why community is so important to me, I'd like to kind of just step back into my story. I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. And when I was 20 years old, I ended up getting pregnant and I wasn't married. So because I wasn't married, that was actually considered a really big sin. And Jehovah's Witnesses, as a sinner, you get what's called disfellowshipped, which means you lose your entire community. Everyone I had ever known for 20 years, my bestest of friends, my mother, my father, my sisters, my brother, cut me off. Within 72 hours of me announcing I was pregnant, I lost my entire community and was in complete darkness. I led the stereotypical single mom, broke ass life of literally no money. But one of the things that I have found now, right, 20 years later, is the importance of community, the darkness, the struggle that I went through for years and years and years was because of the lack of community, because community teaches us, it educates us. We share from stories, we share from inspiration, we network with each other, we refer to each other. And so, the community that I'm building now is called Her Nation. We launched in 2021, right out of COVID. And I am telling you, my entire life has completely altered with this concept that I put into play regarding a community that not just like we're a community, but it's a true community of what I call a teacher-student concept, meaning we're all teachers and we're all students at the same exact time, right? So when somebody asks a question, step into your power, be a teacher, grab the authority, teach, but also allow yourself to show up vulnerable in areas that maybe you're not doing so good in. And when you allow yourself to show up vulnerable, what you're actually doing is you're giving a gift to another woman to be able to stand in her power and give back to you. So it's a give-get concept or a teacher-student concept of we're all helping each other grow. And every single time we're giving, every single time we help each other out, we're all taking one step up, right? Like I'm sitting here with Wendy right now. Wendy knows things that I don't know. I know things that she doesn't know. So when we can sit in a room, in a community, and I can ask Wendy questions and say, hey, listen, I'm having trouble in this area. And Wendy can ask me questions, say, hey, listen, I'm having trouble in this area. And we can both learn something from each other. Then we both take a step up. And when we're all taking a step up, right, that's what creates the strong foundation that's needed to be able to survive in society.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, I have built every single one of my businesses on, a collaboration, community type model, because that is the faster way to grow. And, in a lot of my coaching and the group programs that I do, I always say coaching for one is coaching for all, because number one, you may not be somewhere at a certain time, but you know that at some point you will be. And it's vital for you to know this information, or you may be at a new place that you're just like, I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. Like maybe somebody here can help me out. And I think that there's an aspect of, not just feeling comfortable in the room, but also feeling comfortable to be authentic, to go there and to say, I actually don't know this. Who can help fill in the gaps? I mean, Sabrina, I don't know about you, but like I didn't go to school and learn about how to be an entrepreneur. I mean, I went to school, I got a political science degree. It did not tell me or teach me how to start a business, right? And it's through the communities that I've been able to create, that I've been a part of, that I have joined, that have really enabled me to learn about the things, to go to experts who have that wisdom, who have that information. And I think it is so undervalued and underplayed because there is something about, people thinking that strength is learning how to do it on your own, right? I used to wear the I can do it myself badge of honor, and it was a weight that I was carrying around for 4 decades until I realized, oh, wait, asking for help, reaching out, being in a group of people who actually may know and get me the answer faster, that's the strength. Oh, I get it. And so I think that, that there's something to what you're saying in terms of, perhaps being in these communities, it also helps you identify and address like any blind spots that you may have or that you're not even aware of that actually exist. And so what have you seen in that capacity, or what are some steps that you integrate into your communities to help people to address and point out what those blind spots are?
Yeah. So I really like what you're saying as far as, you wanting to do everything on your own. That was, when I say the huge pivot in 2021 was the creating of Her Nation is just that, really leaning into community, something that I had never done before because of my past experience with community, right? When you build a community, when you build friendships, they can just drop you like this.
Right.
They're meaningless. They mean nothing. Not even your family connections mean anything. That's how quickly they can be pulled right from under you by you just making a decision, right? And so super, super scary for me to really lean into something like this. And the other thing that I really liked how you're talking about, and to go along with your question here, is showing up vulnerable. As a leader, so many times I find that we have a thought that we have to know all the things in all the areas and we can't ask any questions because we're supposed to know all the things. We're the teacher. And what I have found in this journey of mine, that the more vulnerable I am with my business, with my feelings, with my journey of entrepreneurship, that is then allowing other women to be vulnerable also. So you're actually giving the power of vulnerability. And that's the only way to rise. The only way to get better at anything, not just business, at anything, could be basketball, could be baseball, could be skincare, is to admit sobriety, alcoholism, drug abuse, to admit that you don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do the thing. And when you can be vulnerable with yourself, I don't know how to do the thing, and then be vulnerable with somebody else or a group of people, then that's when you can actually get the help that you need to be able to take those steps forward. But as long as we're all stuck in our own solopreneur world where we do things all by ourselves, all solo, no help from anybody, all by myself, and we're bragging about this solopreneurship, you're just causing yourself to stand still. You're causing yourself to not be able to evolve, because the only way to evolve as a person is to get around people who suck, right? Because then they tell you how you don't want to be.
Right.
And then people who excel, so that you have a picture as to who you do want to be. You have to have both.
Right. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I've always said, like, I love getting into a room where there are people way wiser than me, people who are, 3 to 5 steps down the road for me, because there's so much that you can learn. And I also think that there's something to be said about understanding that there is value to be had when you are in a community of people. I think sometimes we get intimidated because we're like, oh God, what are they going to think of me? What are they going to say? Again, it's like you get into that fear mentality, you get into a comparison game, which is the polar opposite of what community is all about. So how is it that you have, in your own experience, like how have you leveraged, sort of being amongst the, 3 steps behind folks in a community? How have you leveraged that to be able to fill any gaps that you've had in your business, and how that has helped you accelerate?
Yeah. Girls, there's so many gaps in my business.
Always, right? It's like every new level, you're like, shit, new gaps to fill. Help me.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. I mean, when it cut leverage is one of the words that I use the most when I'm talking to my community. I remember when I first started using the word leverage and I first started using the word to use each other, I was very hesitant. I'm like, ooh, this sounds bad. Like we're leveraging each other. Like what are we exactly doing here? But really leaning into that because that is what it is. You have to use each other in order to take a step up, right? You have to use me and I have to use you. The cool thing about the concept of using is when somebody uses you, that means that you have a gift to give, right? Individuals are completely useless. Useless, have nothing to teach. It's the point of being around these people. Right. Yeah. The idea is to evolve to a point where people want to use you, right? You want to be so valuable that people want to be around you and suck from you. Then it's your responsibility to create the boundaries right around that. Right. But we want to evolve to the point where somebody looks at us and they're like, damn, I want her on my team. I want her in my group. I need her in my community. I need her to speak. I need her to teach, right? I want to be used, right? And so this leverage, this idea of leverage, 100%. We have to leverage each other's social media, right? Each other's testimonials, each other's work ethic, each other's brain power, mindset, knowledge to be able to help each other. The idea is, though, is give and get. So one of the things that I talk about within my community all the time is we always give, and we assume the get, right? It just comes with it. This happens all the time on my networking calls where I will give, right? I'll be like, how can I help you? What can I do for you? Who can I connect you to? And they're like, oh my God, yes, yes to all the things. I will take all of the things. And then what happens is I give. 99.9% of the time, the individual will return by saying, how can I help you? Right? That's the get. Right. So when you give without ever asking for anything in return, the law of reciprocity, it's a human law. The law of reciprocity kicks in and you will automatically get in return every single time. Not from every single person, but every single time. Right. So, that's all I do all day, every day is I leverage myself. I know that I need to be used. I know that women need to use me and my resources, and I allow them to do that. And then I lean on the law of reciprocity, knowing that it'll come right back to me.
Yeah. And I think you bring something up that's so important is I think so many times we're focused on the outcome, right? It's like, if I'm going to give you this, then what am I going to get in return, right? What's the outcome of me giving? And I think that the outcome is always attached to being in receipt of something instead of allowing the outcome to just be love and gratitude. Right. And agree with you. I love that. I love that concept of like using one another. When you first said that, I was like, oh, that's interesting. Like, wonder where she's going with this one. And I actually really love the idea of that, because what I'm also hearing is that what you're also enabling the other person to be for you, and I know you've used this word before, is you're also allowing them to be sort of like this megaphone of your message and of what it is that you stand for. And, in gifting, what it is that we are actually doing is we are in the amplification process, right? I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that concept and how, maybe some examples of what you've seen in your community and results that have come from that.
Absolutely. One of the things that I talk about all the time that people don't necessarily appreciate is I tell people you have to talk and brag about yourself until other people start bragging about you. So if nobody's talking about you, then that's your job. And if you don't want to do it, if you don't want to brag about yourself, then you have to start talking to other people. You have to start networking so that they can then become a megaphone for you, bragging about you. So somebody's got to do it. The only way to exchange money, the only way to grow a business is to collect money. That's what a business is. It's a business collects money. If you're not collecting money, you're not a business. And the only way to collect money is if people know you. If people don't know you and they don't know your brand, they can't give you money. And the only way to get money and to get people to know you is for them to hear about you. And if they're not hearing about you from you, then they need to be hearing about you from other people. So I network like crazy. I mean, I was just talking today on our mastermind. Every Monday morning at 10 a.m., I run a women's mastermind. And I was talking about how I talk to 3 to 5 people a day. 3 to 5 strangers a day I have talked to over the last 3 years of building out Her Nation, and hundreds, thousands of predominantly women talking about what I do, talking about my vision. The amount of megaphones that I have, the amount of shout outs that I get, the amount of referrals that come through my email box, astronomical, astronomical. And I'm still bragging about myself. I'm still talking about how great Her Nation is. I'm still talking about the foundation and the structure of all of it while the megaphone is happening. But that's the only way. I mean, you have to remember, people are getting distracted. There's 1,000 things people are getting distracted by. You know, we got the politics happening now. We got wars all over the place. We have cat videos, hair products, right? We're getting our menstrual. We're talking about skincare earlier. We're all getting freaking old. Like, there's 1,000 things we're all Googling, trying to figure out. And if we're not constantly telling people, hey, look at me. Hey, look at me. Hey, look at this. Hey, this is my brand. Hey, what about this? Hey, what about me? What about the brand? What? People are getting distracted 1,000 times over. So you have to be excited about your business. You have to be excited about who you are. You have to be excited about what you're building. You have to be excited about your community, because no one's going to be as excited as you. Everyone's going to fall 2 to 3 octaves below you. So you have to show up at 172% so that you can get other people to show up at 90%.
So what if somebody listening to this is going, oh God, I have to talk about myself? Isn't that, yeah. Where's somewhere that somebody could start? Because I mean, I hear you, I feel you. I used to be in that, like, oh God, what are people going to say? Like, oh, she's got an ego, right? You have all the limiting beliefs, the self-talk that's coming in. So what would you say to somebody who's thinking to themselves right now, oh God, please don't make me do that?
I am going to say unapologetically that it's not about you. So often we're like, oh, what are they going to think? Oh, what about my makeup? Oh, I'm looking a little chubby right now. Once I lose 20 pounds, I got a zit. My hair's not done. My makeup's not done. Girl, it's not even about you. It's about your message. It's about the education you have. It's about the knowledge you have that you're hoarding. You're hoarding like a greedy little girl, right? Because you're egotistical about how you look or how you're going to show up. It's not about that. It's about the knowledge that you have that can help somebody else evolve. And if you're not sharing the message, you're doing a disservice, not only to yourself and for you, the generations to come in your lineage, but also for your community, also for your city, also for the world, for generations to come. Because there's things that you know that other people don't know. And how dare you? How dare you? I mean, that's what I say. How dare you hoard that for yourself? So we got to get over it, right? You got to go. If you look through my social media, I dare anybody here to go through my social media, Sabrina Victoria, girl, you'll see me at a size 2, looking all freaking gorge. And you'll also see me at a size 18, looking all plump with my titties hanging out, right? You'll see me with my hair all frizzy. You'll see me with 2020 when I was growing out my hair, becoming a silver fox, and I got half gray, half black. I'm showing up. I'm showing up because I know that the message, I know that the education, the knowledge that I have is worthy of being heard, because there are people that need to be saved in whatever area I was teaching in. Not saved like death, but saved. And that's important. So if you believe, but you have to believe that, if you believe that the message and the education and the knowledge that you have is worth something, then you just got to get over yourself. You got to get with it. It's not about all this. It's about what's in here that needs to be taught.
Well, and I think that that's one of the challenges a lot of us face, right? Is it's that, and it's also, well, do people really want to know this? Do they really care? What are they going to say? Like, what are some of the other challenges that you think people struggle with in showing up authentically like that?
Yeah. One of the greatest stories to kind of connect that, your last question and this question, one of the greatest stories I heard was on another podcast. We were talking about body image issues and imposter syndrome. And she was like, listen, a long time ago, somebody told me, because she wasn't getting into pictures. She hated her picture taken. She's overweight. She's gained weight over her lifetime and was still overweight, like considered herself overweight. And she's like, never gotten into pictures, hated taking pictures. I would always scoot out of the picture. I was always the one taking the picture. And somebody told her, listen, stop being so freaking selfish. Those pictures are not for you. They're for your family. They're for your children. They're for your grandchildren. So how dare you not allow them to be able to see you and connect with you and love up on you long after your death? So that in itself, right? That's family. That's personal. It's the same exact thing with this. It's not for us. It's not for me, right? It's for everyone else. That's what community is, right? The community that I'm building, the gorgeous community that I'm building, Her Nation. It's not for me. It's for the women. It's for the ladies and the generations that they are impacting to come, right? I have trauma coaches. I have healing coaches. I have spiritual coaches. These women are changing the trajectory of the entire world because they're healing cycles, right? They're healing trauma cycles. So if I'm all like up on myself and I'm not teaching them how to succeed in their business so that they can do the work that they're set to do to help break cycles of abuse and cycles of trauma, well, then what am I doing? I'm worried about my hair. There's people that need to be saved, right? There's people that need to be saved, whether it's weight loss, whether it's skincare, anything, cars, anything. These are things that get our family around. These are things that get our business around. These are things that make the world go round. I don't know if that totally answered your question.
No, it does. I think, what I'm also hearing you say is, being in community also provides that support for you to really, it's almost like starting with a smaller circle of being authentic and being honest and kind of, walking on stage naked to enable you to really expose yourself in the larger sphere of social media, let's say, right? And I think that there's something to be said for that. I think that, a lot of us feel, kind of having the comfort of a smaller community feels a little bit better to kind of dip our toe in to be like, okay, this is exposing ourselves around the fears that we have of being authentic and being ourselves across social media. It's kind of a way for us to gain some courage to be able to really go out there and to be able to do that. And to me, in order to really expand your business, it's got to start with yourself. If you're keeping yourself small, your business is going to reflect that, right? And so having that safe space, having those people to really feel like you can go there, or that, you want to get people's appetite whet around, like, what do you think, like bounce ideas off of, right? Like, to me, that is the advantage of being in community. That is the advantage of having a network for you to be able to bounce things off of. I mean, I have multiple communities that I am a part of that, like, I will bounce stuff off of them. We'll do like little mini get together masterminds and, help each other with our businesses, or get their opinions of, like, how do you see me? Or what would, I'm thinking about calling myself this, or I'm thinking about going out with this offer, or I'm thinking about creating this community. How does this sound? How does this feel? And really, again, like, kind of to bring our conversation full circle, I think that there's something to be said that is not being said loud enough about the power of having a community of like-minded individuals. Being like-minded doesn't mean that you're at the same place in life or in business. It just means that you are like-minded and that you are seeking community. You are seeking what community stands for, which to me is all about connection. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are on all of that.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things that is coming up for me, kind of a sidestep, but what's coming up for me is a lot of times individuals, let's talk about business, who are maybe not feeling like they're like, okay, Sabrina, like I'm just imagining somebody listening to this and they're like, okay, Sabrina, cool, gotcha. But like, I'm not trying to build like your vision of like hundreds of thousands of people in a community or millions of followers or whatever it is. Like, I'm not even trying to do that. I'm just trying to just have a small little thing. I'm just trying to make 50 grand a year, and just like pay bills and call it a day. Right. What's coming up for me is, listen, ladies, so many times what's happening is we have an idea. It's not even flourished yet. And we're so concerned with like the end result of what we don't want. It's kind of like working out. Like you're 150 pounds overweight, you're over here, and you just have this idea of like being more healthy, right? But because you don't want to end up with like biceps that are out to here or like quads that are like this big, like I don't want to look too muscular, like all the way freaking on the other side of the spectrum, you never even start. So like there's a long ways between like an idea, right? Of like, I want to get healthy and then becoming the whole. And any time in between, you can stop, right? So like just start. Just start. Don't let the inspiration or the motivation or the power of which I am speaking or that Wendy is speaking to scare you to the point of like, oh, I'm not trying to be that. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Right. I'm just trying to like be somewhere in the middle. The whole idea of this is to inspire someone to move. We're trying to create movement in your world. And then you can halt at any point between here and here. There can be a point where you're just like, I'm good right fucking in here. But what's happening is so many individuals aren't even starting because they're like, oh, not trying to get all the way over there.
Right.
So allow the words like podcasts like Wendy's that you're following, allow the stories to inspire you to move. And then don't worry about like where you're not trying to go. Just create some movement in your life in an area that inspires you. And then hit the pause button at any time. The power.
Yeah, I love it. Sabrina, thank you so much for being here and sharing so much of your wisdom today. And I would love for everybody to know where they can find you and connect with you.
Yeah, simple. SabrinaVictoria.com is my website. SabrinaVictoria.com. That's my name. And everything is on there. My community is on there, my testimonials, my social media, where to follow me. But if you just literally Google Sabrina Victoria, all my stuff will pop up.
Amazing. And don't also forget to tune into her own podcast and her show, Her Nation, which is a great one. You guys definitely should check that out. Sabrina, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing so much of your wisdom and creating this incredible community of inspiring women. I really appreciate you so much.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Of course. And everybody tuning in today, thank you guys so much for being here and for tuning in. I hope that you found just even one nugget. I mean, I got a ton of nuggets of information about how it is that each and every one of you guys can really start, as Sabrina would say, leveraging the power of community to continue to build yours and to make not just yourself, but also your business that much stronger. Thank you guys for tuning in. As with every episode as well, I appreciate you tuning in and creating a pause in your life to listen to the wisdom shared by my guest today, Sabrina Victoria. I hope that you guys all have a beautiful rest of your day. Wishing you all and sending you so much love and light always. Mwah. Bye, everybody.